direct deposit, be aware of scams. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Tapping our first 7 minutes. The Better Business Bureau is already getting reports of scammers contacting people claiming they need to provide personal information to get their stimulus checks. Now, some scammers also say there are processing fees. Neither is true. Experts say not to respond to any text messages, emails, or robocalls about your stimulus check. Well, some lawmakers call for an investigation into a phone call between President Trump and Georgia's Secretary of State. It comes just as Congress prepares to certify the 2020 election results. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington, D.C.
During a remarkable hour-long phone call with Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, President Trump pressured him to find enough votes to change the election outcome in his state.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Everything we've done for the last 12 months follows the Constitution of the state of Georgia, follows the United States Constitution.
The president went on to imply that the Republican and his lawyer could face consequences for not helping him.
You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense. And you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk.
The president's extraordinary phone call is surfacing just days before Congress is expected to certify Joe Biden's presidential victory. But before that happens, at least a dozen Senate Republicans and several more in the House plan to contest the Electoral College results.
And we've seen in the last 2 months unprecedented allegations of voter fraud.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz is pushing for an emergency 10-day audit of the election returns from 6 states, citing public mistrust in the results. The move has some Republicans asking their colleagues to move on.
This is bad for the country and bad for the party.
Democrats call the plan a publicity stunt, and a spokesman for President-elect Biden's transition team says it won't change the fact that Joe Biden will be sworn in on January 20th. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Well, a wintry weekend led to dozens of car accidents as drivers battled thick fog and slick patches of ice. Saturday night, road crews closed a portion of Highway 171 while authorities dealt with a multi-vehicle crash at Center Creek Bridge. Authorities remind drivers to exercise extra caution on icy roads. And remember, bridges are the first to freeze over and the last to thaw. Drive slow and apply your brakes gently. You should also give yourself plenty of stopping room. That was definitely the case this morning, and we also had to deal with the fog.
Yeah, that fog crept in last night, ended up being pea soup this morning. Their bridges were frozen last night because we were sitting at about 30 degrees. We've come a long way, Tanya. Check out the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin. Beautiful blue sky, clear as can be, and temperatures already up into the high 40s. Now the wind has picked up, now coming out of the west at 15 miles per hour, but we're even throwing up 50s right now in Parsons and Oswego. Monette just about there, and Cassville at 51, along with Neosho and Anderson. Bye-bye cloud cover, bye-bye fog, and even the light rain that we're seeing up in central Missouri stays up to our northwest. Future track going to clear us out for the afternoon hours. More sunshine overnight, dipping back down below freezing, and the reemergence of additional patchy fog. It's not going to be as widespread or as thick as what it was this morning, but as Tanya was telling us, going to stretch those bridges, especially pre-sunrise hours. Now Tuesday, we're going to see consistent 50s across the 4 states until Wednesday afternoon, and that's when we'll go back to a little rain. And then on Thursday, more developments as a cold front begins to work through, and we'll see some of that precipitation moving in from a large front out west, even shift to a little snow. Not looking like anything that we had last week by any means, but the cold here to stay as we're in the 30s from Friday into Sunday. Coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, we'll look at that Pacific Northwest low pressure system that made landfall earlier today and the way it's going to affect our weather here by the middle of the week.
All right, a lot to talk about, a lot to look forward to. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, airlines may have to wait until the second half of the year to see any true recovery from the losses of the pandemic. According to data from FactSet, U.S. airlines lost more than $35 billion last year, with Southwest Airlines likely recording its first loss in more than 4 decades. Overall, carriers increased their debt by $67 million during the pandemic. Well, struggling movie theater giant AMC Entertainment will sell up to 50 million more shares as it tries to stay afloat during the pandemic. According to a filing with the SEC, the maximum price would be $250 a share with a goal to raise $125 million. Without the sale, AMC could face bankruptcy. Well, starting today, St. Louis residents are allowed to dine indoors again. There are a few restrictions. Capacity is limited to 25%. Restaurants and bars must close by 10 p.m. Businesses must participate in contact tracing, and bars will need to install a plexiglass barrier. But as Julie Avery reports, even with the new rules, restaurants in St. Louis are ready to open their doors.
It's a new era of restaurant dining.
We're at the point now that we've got the to-go orders, the online orders, the curbside pickup. We've got it down, and it goes very smoothly.
After almost a year of changes, obstacles, and restrictions, Monday morning customers will be welcomed back inside.
So excited. We are so happy to be able to open. 25% is huge for us.
So the preparations begin. But there is still more adapting to do.
I've been in the restaurant business quite some time, but definitely it's a matter of pivoting every time a new mandate or change, and to be able to work through those changes.
This time around, contact tracing is required.
We actually have this card, which is our contact tracing card, and so we will give them out to every guest and be able to keep time and track of who was where and when.
They've adapted before, now they are adapting again.
And I really feel like it's opening day. We're very excited. Hopefully we'll be able to stay at 25%. We won't have to go back. And maybe in the next month or so, we can even increase it. That's what we're hoping.
Restaurant owners say they're pleased to welcome customers back indoors, but it'll take years to recover financially. And that's a look at our top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon. A new trend for businesses who are still forced to serve outdoors.
Outdoor dining as temperatures drop is leading to a hot trend. I'm Kate Smith with the new concoctions bars and restaurants are serving up to draw customers in cold weather.
Plus, we're making a quinoa shrimp bowl in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. In many cities, restaurants can only serve their customers outdoors. Sorry about that. The challenge is keeping that clientele warm in the winter months, but now some establishments are finding a new way to turn up the temperature. Kate Smith has more.
Eating outdoors under a tent.
We have your mulled wine.
Has customers warming up to something new on the menu.
As we are outside, I'm freezing, so I'm often looking for something that's warm.
And that's why the upscale Korean steakhouse Coat in New York is serving mulled wine.
Tell me a little bit about what we're looking at here.
So these are the 2 mulled wine cocktails we offer.
Beverage director Victoria James says the red mulled wine comes warm with a shot of hard liquor, nuts, and raisins. The white wine version includes gin and cinnamon.
Apple cider is what it kind of reminds me of.
The pandemic completely changed how we interact with our guests.
Simon Kim, who owns the Michelin-starred restaurant, thinks the drinks could become the next big thing.
For the first time in New York City, hot cocktail became more of a necessity.
Offering mulled wine is more than just keeping up with trends. Bars and restaurants are adapting their menus to hold on to business.
It's a survival mechanism.
Chris Stang, CEO of Zagat Restaurant Guides, says hot cocktails are part of that survival. You can find Spike Cider at Washington, D.C.'s Truxton Inn. The Sportsman Club in Chicago has hot toddies. And Atlanta's Wrecking Bar is serving up hot buttered rum.
There's been a lot of necessary, I guess what you would call innovation.
In New York, that includes this 19th century flaming whiskey concoction at Dante. And the restaurant Niche offers a boozy hot chocolate topped with chartreuse-laced whipped cream. Back at Coat,
this is really a hot ticket here,
which has the restaurant developing new hot cocktails for future menus. Kate Smith, CBS News, New York.
All right, I might be thirsty now. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Want to eat right in the new year, but don't know where to start? Grab your shopping list and let me give you a few pointers.
First, a check of your complete forecast when we return.
Let's kick off this first full work week of 2021 with beautiful blue skies and a whole lot of sunshine. No worries on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. All the precipitation that we see even in central Missouri. There's a little freezing rain there when you get on the north side of I-70, but nothing for our highlighted counties. And this is interesting right here. I want to point out the counties in gray. We certainly experienced that this morning. They're still holding on to dense fog advisories all the way through the afternoon hours. And I want everybody to be apprised of our situation and the fact that we're going to see additional patchy fog late tonight into Tuesday morning. Watch those bridges, please, 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 because we are going to drop below the freezing mark once again. Now, we're already up into the 50s up in Parsons, Oswego, Southeast Kansas right there. Got a couple 50s hanging on in Neosho and Anderson. Cassville looks like our warm spot there in southwest Missouri at 51. And then everybody in northeast Oklahoma able to call it 50 as well. And while we won't see a huge bump up during the afternoon hours, that does put us right on par for some pretty normal temperatures here for the beginning of the year. And of course, we'll be eyeballing the precipitation, see where we go after coming off of a 2020 that ended up absolutely perfectly normal. Just got drowned half the time, and then we had a drought half the time. Wind tracker is shifting right now. We're now seeing double-digit sustained winds up to the north. What that's doing is really putting a crimp in the old wind chill temperature, especially for Iola and Fort Scott, sitting at 37 and 39 respectively. You get down here to the south where the wind really hasn't picked up too much, and your temperature is going to be right on par with your wind chill. Big talker is going to be what's out behind me in Pacific Northwest, the low pressure system that just made landfall last night. And while it's going to present them with flooding concerns, especially with the burn scars from the wildfires that they had, this is actually going to be able to stay organized as that low pressure system you see kind of force the high pressure toward us for tomorrow, but then make it over the Rockies as one system that, usually we get something like that, it'll break up over the mountains. But this is going to bring us rain and maybe even some snow here by the end of the work week. Now, no one worries on Monday or Tuesday because that sun is here to stay. And then overnight, like I said, let's be very, very wary out there falling below the freezing mark. Now, for future track, that's that high pressure system that we were just talking about. Additional clear skies for tomorrow, even though it's going to be chilly, we'll still see some 50s on the board for tomorrow. This kind of undershoots it. I'm going to go about 50 degrees by the time we get into our peak heating hours, so that'll be nice. And then on the backside of the high pressure, we see the clouds begin to grow, indicating that low that was coming off the Pacific Northwest, headed our way right there. And about Wednesday, say afternoon, is when we see the widespread rain. You'll also notice, too, there's not a whole lot of movement in it. It goes kind of north-south, but it has a hard time pushing out of here. And then on Thursday, the result of a cold front that's dropping in from the northwest gives us some snow on the backside of that. It's not going to be anything like what we saw last week as far as an elongated period, but that's something that we'll keep our eyes on there because of the rain-snow mix for the most part. This is what I wanted to point out, how that thing's able to stay together there as it creeps over the mountains. As far as the 7-day forecast goes, it's going to be chilly after that. That Thursday cold front's going to drop us into the 30s, and that's going to stick around with our next shot for snow after Thursday coming on Sunday. I'll just go ahead and I'll address the elephant in the room. It started last night and it hasn't come back.
It has that nice raspy sound to it. Some people really like
it's
that.
also why my personality may be a little bit tempered because I can't
really have that loud outburst.
Right.
No,
We're taking
it's all the same level.
We're trying to take it nice and easy and come back fully responsive for tomorrow.
It's all right.
So my apologies, 4 states.
Hopefully it'll be back tomorrow for you. Honey, lemon tea.
Yeah, I know.
There
I
you
was
go.
actually thinking about Lisa Oliga. She used to make me stuff when we worked together whenever my voice would begin to go.
All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4th state hero, Sergeant Richard Stice in the U.S. Air Force. The Oswego, Kansas native joined the Intelligence Corps and later the military police during the U.S. occupation of Japan in 1946. To Sergeant Richard Stice, we thank you, our 4th state hero. If you're looking to add a few more superfoods into your diet, look no further. Today, Howard shows us how to make a quinoa shrimp bowl in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
As we kick off the new year, Many of us are looking for ways to drop a few pounds and to start eating better. It's tough. But if we surround ourselves with a few ingredients that are good for us, also known as superfoods, our chance of success is that much greater. So to help you get off on the right foot, let me show you a few that we've stocked up on. If you don't have quinoa in your pantry, add it to your shopping list. It's a protein-packed grain that's also a good source of iron, vitamin E, and fiber. It sort of looks like couscous, yet it has a nuttier taste. And try getting into the habit of adding beans to your recipes, since they're packed with fiber and are high in antioxidants, protein, and all sorts of vitamins. And if they're canned, make sure to drain and rinse them, as it reduces the sodium by about 40%. As a matter of fact, I threw these superfoods, plus a few others like fresh pomegranate seeds, avocado, and shrimp, into a dish that's so good, you'll forget it's good for you. We call it Quinoa Shrimp Bowl. And to get the recipe, just check out our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a superfoods kind of way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Delicious?
I might have to try that one. We'll be right back.
Up into the high 40s. We already see some 50s right now. It's been a delightful afternoon, and tomorrow's even going to be a little bit warmer. If you want to radar watch with us, remember it's the big low pressure system in the Pacific Northwest that'll be our rainmaker on Wednesday and possibly bring us some snow on Thursday. Now let's head on over to Dow with a look at what's coming up tonight at 5.
Yeah, and 5 small pharmacies across the country are quickly becoming a critical part of vaccine distribution. There are about 23,000 independent pharmacies in the U.S., and many are the backbone of their communities. In Health Watch, we're going to look at how they're stepping up to fight misinformation and administer the vaccine in areas where medical resources are often limited. Plus, Joplin police filed murder charges in a double fatal vehicle accident over the weekend, and a report on the performance of Missouri veterans' homes during the pandemic. We'll have those stories, a lot more. KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.